banking and the financial sector revolution is here. Are you ready to discover awesome startups hungry to make it happen? Well, this Mary Poppins of Startups live show brings you two fantastic startups to add to your watch list. Meet Will Billingsley and Ibrahim, two of the founders of ApTap, a startup that wants to make cancelling, switching, or signing up new providers take seconds rather than hours. Meet Charles Ademola Akinyemi, the serial entrepreneur and founder of PecuniaPay. PecuniaPay's mission is to provide the most seamless banking and transaction experience for users across Africa and beyond, so that transactions that crosses borders take minutes rather than minutes. I'm Nail Makangu from Akina Leaders, the Mary Poppins of Startups. Subscribe, relax, and enjoy the show. Don't forget, like and share this episode to support these startups. Why did you decide to create PecuniaPay, right? There was a moment where you went to bed and you woke up and you said, enough is enough. So what was the turning point that made you feel like, I just cannot live with this situation anymore?
Okay, man, that's that's quite. I don't know how to start to answer that question, but man, there are a lot of accumulation of pain, right? And it's painful, right? That okay, let's say I'm in Nigeria. Yeah, I schooled in Cyprus, and it's more like if you're in Nigeria or if you're from some African countries, yeah, in European country, in America, it's more like you are excluded from the global payment system. It's annoying, right? What your friend from Switzerland can easily do, what your friend from UK can easily do, because you're from Africa or because you're from Nigeria, you can't do that easily. It's very rigorous. It's impossible. It's more like you are from other parts of the planet. You understand? And that was quite to me. It's quite a marginalization, if I'm going to see it that way. And I'm like, okay, we are going to come together and solve our problem. We're not going to be waiting for somebody to solve our problem. So like, okay, what are we going to do? When I was schooling in Cyprus, it's very, very rigorous for you to send money directly into your school account. I'm talking about to pay your school fees. You have to go through traditional banking system to pay in cash. You have to. I'm serious, man. In this age, you really have to go through some traditional banking system to pay in cash, and the charges are quite expensive. Yeah, now the dollar rate to some African currency is quite like, and that's incurring a lot of cost on parents, right? This is one of the things that actually brought about PecuniaPay. Okay, how can we tackle this problem here? Now, I also received a call from a friend in Sweden expressing the same challenges. Like, okay, Charles, our friends from India, from other countries can easily just on the tap of their phone from their parent can just pay their school fees directly. But we Nigerians, it's very, very rigorous. We just have to go through manual processes. And I'm like, okay, we have to put a stop to this. It's one of the things that brought about it's actually one of the reasons that brought about the international payment system. And I remember a time where a friend of mine, school fees had been paid for weeks. Exam was almost starting, yet it hadn't reflected in her school account. And if it doesn't reflect, obviously she's not going to write the exam. Now it's not that she's owing, it had been paid, but it's yet to reflect.
So hold on a minute there. Are you talking about the fact that the transaction has already gone through, but for the other end to receive the transaction, we are talking about weeks?
Yes,
not
I'm serious.
Hours.
You can ask. I'm serious, man. It took more than 2 weeks, and I was like, okay. Yeah. And the exam was fast approaching. She kept expressing a concern to me. Now you are not owing, but you are owing. You understand? It doesn't make sense. And well, thank goodness, eventually it came through. I'm like, okay, people can't keep passing through it. Wow. And we interested to know that she wasn't the only one having that issue. The payments, it's just too slow. It was just too slow. I'm like, okay, we have to solve this problem. How do we create a fast and efficient international money movement between Nigeria, between Africa and other part of the world? How do we make Africans an efficient member of global payment system? I say efficient because if you're not using the Swift banking network, if you're not using the normal banking network that Europeans are using, Americans are using, it's more like your payment system is not efficient. So it's one of the reasons that brought about PecuniaPay. It's one of the pain. Okay, let's solve this problem. Let's tackle this problem, and that's one. Another thing is freelancers in Nigeria, in Africa, do have issues receiving international payments, right? People want to work and receive foreign payments. I mean, for proper remittance, it actually contributes to the country's economy as well. But there is serious difficulty. The reason is because if you're in Nigeria or if you're in some African country, you're not using IBAN. Neither are you using Swift. So what you are majorly using is your local bank account. So it's not really easy for somebody in Sweden to just transfer money to somebody in Nigeria. It's not easy for somebody in Sweden to just transfer money to somebody in Congo. You have to pass through some traditional way. Either you use Western Union or you use MoneyGram. Those are rigorous processes. So now, how do we solve this problem? Bi-directionally. You can receive money from your foreign client and you can send money. So parents or whoever wants to send money abroad can do this effectively on the tap of the phone or whatever on their computer, and you as a freelancer can receive money seamlessly without having to start using passports to go to Western Union and all that. And we came up with PecuniaPay that okay, let's solve this problem with PecuniaPay, and we are getting there. We are getting there.
Wow, this is really exciting. And again, it's interesting to see the scale of the challenges, what some people, such as myself, will take for granted. When you mentioned weeks, right? Imagine your exams are coming up and I take weeks not knowing whether I'll sit the exam because the payment is not reflected. In fact, something funny happened to me 2 days ago. I was at the shop, I was shopping in Madrid, and I forgot my purse because I usually pay with my watch. And unfortunately, the card that's linked to my watch was empty. So when I tried to pay, imagine you've done your full shopping, you're there, and then people look at you because your card is declined. And I'm like, oh crap, my other card is at home. So I took my phone and transferred money, and it was in seconds. I literally told the person at the checkout, do you mind, give me 2 minutes. I took my phone, transferred money from one of my bank accounts in the UK to another one in Spain, which is linked to my card. And within less than 2 minutes, with people looking at me like, yeah, she actually gonna pay for this? I'm like, just 2 minutes. And I paid for it. So now imagine having, weeks and weeks of stress for something that is so simple, right? Something that most people don't even think about is happening at a global scale for so many people around the world.
Yes. So, talking about what you've just said now, making payment with your watch and with your smartwatch, and making Swift payment within your mobile account, within your bank account and your smartwatch, whatever it is part of the problem PecuniaPay is actually solving as well. At the moment, there is not yet contactless payment in Nigeria as far as I'm concerned, and some African countries. A lot of things are still very, very manual when it comes to payment. In fact, payments, as far as I'm concerned, is still very, very crooked when it comes to in Nigeria. It's still very, very manual. And PecuniaPay is a complete digital banking system that solves a lot of problems at once. And one of it is this, like you said, okay, I'm living in an European country at the moment, and I know how seamless it is for me. Most times, maybe I order something and you bring the goods. I can just contactlessly use my phone in some case, or contactlessly use my card without having to input my PIN for utmost security. But that is not the case in most African countries, especially Nigeria. I say manual because in most cases you still have to input your PIN. In most cases, in 80% of the cases. So that is not actually providing for utmost security, because while imputing your PIN, you could actually be exposing it to. You can't say we are exposing that to. What if you're making payment in public? I want to be able to make payment in public. I want to get to Lagos, make payment in public by just bringing my phone contactlessly or close to any POS or close to any payment or system. and that's also one of the problems we are trying to solve. So we are proposing 3 major values. We're trying to bring Nigerians, bring Africans to a global scale of payment system, to be part, so that you don't leave Nigeria and get to Canada or and get to UK and be totally oblivion to what is going on, because you are not. That's like the first time you are seeing it. Wow, at the age of 20, at the age of 23, that's the first time. That's disturbing, and it will take you time to start adjusting to that. That is not right. If an individual is leaving Canada and traveling to UK, I bet it with you, Nelly, nothing is going to be strange. There is nothing strange to that person. As far you can still use the same payment. That's how integrated these countries are. It's a totally different case with African countries, and we are trying to level the ground, and we're going to do that. And we are trying to level the ground. Yeah.
And I have complete faith in you.
Issa and Will, welcome to the show. I've been looking forward to finally having this conversation with you since the first talk that we had. But before we start in and get into the nitty-gritty details of your journey and the journey of ApTap, can you tell us a bit more about ApTap, the company, and what is it that you do?
Sure, no problem. Well, firstly, thank you for having us both here today. Been looking forward to it as well. ApTap in a nutshell, we are essentially intelligent bill management tools. So we start by trying to understand who a customer is through their open banking transactions, through things like their energy usage, their broadband speeds. We really bring all of these different data sets together to say, well, okay, based on your user profile, here are the best deals on the market for you, and then allow that customer or empower that customer to take the action they feel is appropriate, whether that's canceling a service, switching to a new provider, a new merchant, signing up to a new supplier or a new product, or whether that's trying to communicate with a supplier directly. And what we do is then package all of that up into a very simple set of APIs, or very simple technical integration for someone like a financial institution or a budgeting tool, anyone who's got a kind of financial relationship with a customer. We allow them essentially to embed those tools into their platform so that their customers can either save money, whatever their priorities are, right? Whether that's saving money or being greener, or looking for, maybe you're a gamer and you want faster broadband, for example. Really, it's about understand the customer and help them take action. I think you're on mute there now.
What I love about your journey is being able to tackle the two different areas in terms of helping users and also helping the providers and the financial services. But one thing that's quite striking, as young entrepreneurs entering the financial service market or industry, what has been your experience?
Do you want to start? It's a never-ending list.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, firstly, I guess at the beginning it was getting used to always being, some of the youngest in the room when you have a meeting, and when, you have these experienced bankers who are. Anyway, let me not say
careful.
Anything. Yeah, I gotta be careful. Basically, you have people who've been in the industry for a while, and if you're not experienced, it takes a bit more to convince them when you're young and fresh out of uni. It takes a lot more to convince people to listen to you in the first place. So I guess that was one of the challenges. I will continue on that.
I think there's an element of naivety that's allowed us to kind of be a little bit headstrong and push through with what he's just saying. In terms of kind of, I guess, delving into the world of fintech and generally being a startup founder, I think it's something that almost nothing, or at least for me, really prepare you for. I think there's a lot of different facets to it. There are a lot of different kind of, social implications, whether that's your personal finances, how that affects your relationships. But then as well, how do you build up a network from scratch? How do you become a credible source of information, as this is talking about? So there are all these different kind of things that you at least sit in the back of your mind, for me, that you need to learn how to manage, and really that's I think an exercise in being able to zoom out and zoom back in on what's important at a certain point in time. Which I think is probably one of the hardest things to master, and those who are successful seem to have at least nailed down that quality. I think that for me is probably the thing that moving forward try to kind of constantly improve upon, for sure.
Yeah, no, that's right. I guess the startup journey, and I love what you've said as well, is you can read as many books as you want about building a startup, but it's really once you go under the bonnet and start doing it that you really figure out what it is about. And I guess when it comes to, again, as you said, you bravely enter the market, the financial services industry. Yet at the beginning, as you said, you just finished university. How did you narrow down to this idea? Was it the first idea that you had, or there were multiple ones before getting to that particular one?
Far from the first one. It was, I think, between especially Issa and Nadal, our third co-founder, there was very much a focus on kind of the environment and I guess more broadly kind of engineering. For me, as a biologist, I was very much kind of along the lines of healthcare and medicine and the intersection of technology throughout those kind of industries. And I think between the three of us, we brought some really different perspectives to the table, and that kind of allowed us to broaden our scope, I suppose, and not really get hunkered down into one thing too soon. And we started ApTap with the kind of ideation process probably at the beginning of 2017, I suppose, that kind of winter time, and then incorporated the business at the beginning of 2018. But I would still say that by 2018 we had a tangent that we knew we wanted to go down, and throughout the course of 2018 it was about understanding how do we run a business, how do we structure these things, how do we divide our roles and responsibilities and that sort of thing. But preceding that, it really was about iteration. If you want to talk a little bit about the story
in terms
how we got there,
how we got to the product.
Yeah.
Yes. So the original idea was about linking. It was called. It doesn't matter if I give the name, anyways. No, instead it was called Greener, and it was basically trying to link your spending to your carbon footprint. So, tracking using open banking to give you a carbon footprint score based on the places you buy things, what type of transport you use, etc., etc. But back then, we quickly learned that no one was willing to pay to be greener. So we quickly started ideating around other things. And as we said, open banking was just being introduced around that time. This was 2017, late 2017. So we started ideating around things we could do with that, apart from linking to your carbon footprint and your spend. And we started ideating around a challenger bank, really. Now that I think back, it was basically a challenger bank with some more features in there. And we started off there, but around that time, Monzo, Revolut were raising millions and millions. They already were gaining hundreds of thousands of customers. It just looked like an overcrowded space, and a lot of work, especially getting a banking license will take you probably around 5 years. You might be able to do it shorter than that, but there was just a lot of legwork, and the space was already very full. And so one of our features, which was canceling your subscriptions and managing your bills and subscriptions, is what a lot of users said they like. So we did a lot of actual kind of user feedback interviews. So we'd create a lot of prototypes and we'd give it to people, and they'd play around with it, and we'd get their feedback. And that cancellation feature and in terms of managing bills seemed to be the most popular. So I guess that's how we started focusing on that in terms of bills and subscriptions and going down that route. And ApTap kind of just evolved from there.
It's interesting to see how you had a lot of ideas, but the birth of ApTap actually came from different ideas that you've tried. And I guess once you've narrowed down, so you had the research, you spoke to the market, and understood that this is kind of where you wanted to go and start growing. How did you feel when you decided this is it? This is the roots of ApTap? How did he make you feel at that
Was
moment?
there a kind of point like that for you? For me, I'm not sure there was ever like a, now this is it, this is what we're doing. I think it really was an evolution, something that iterated itself into like, hang on, now we look back, especially today, right? We look back over the last 4.5 years or so, and we're like, wow, look how far we've come and the things that we've done. And then you look forward and you're like, geez, I've still got so much to do, so many things that we'd like to tackle, both with ApTap and beyond, right? But I'm not sure there was like an individual like turning point per se, but I think what really fueled the fire was that pivot, the initial kind of it's all about clarity and control for customers. What actions can they take that Issa just spoke about? That was then, we kind of took that actually to Imperial College, where we were all at university together. They sponsored both Issa and Nadal for entrepreneurial visas. And I think that was part of we could be onto something good here if Imperial's backing it. This is a world-renowned institution that's saying you guys could be onto something. And then it evolved further, right? We raised some money through family and friends, and we took that then to places like Accenture's FinTech Innovation Lab. And for the first time we applied, we got rejected, but we had, that's the life of a founder, right? It's all about taking those learnings on board, but the feedback from them, from the financial institutions that were there, was very much, we like what you're up to, we like the consumer proposition, but what's in it for us? Like, stop cutting us out of the equation here and try and bring us into this. And that's really, I think, beginning of 2019, where we were like, okay, this could be a business that really scales to something that makes an impact on people's lives, that could generate some real revenue, right? Taking it really viable business for both ourselves, for the financial institutions, to do the right thing for customers. And we've got now an opportunity to disrupt a multi-billion-pound affiliate market, not just in the UK, but worldwide as we start to grow. So I think probably that pivot into, away from kind of a consumer-facing, probably subpar digital bank that we were looking at becoming in 2018, into a very niche kind of, this is what we're going to tackle at the beginning of 2019, kind of nailing down some distribution channels in terms of kind of going B2B to C, as it were. That, I think, was probably our most pivotal moment to date.
Yeah, I agree. Totally.
And what are those, now that you're really focusing mostly on this financial services and the providers area, what are the key features that really attract them when they hear the ApTap story and what you are building?
Do you want to talk through like the actual product and what that looks like, what we've got?
Yes, let me kind of talk through the product in a nutshell in terms of what we currently have. So as a consumer, you'd arrive on our platform, and first we would ask you to link a bank account. Obviously that's due to open banking, and that also helps us automatically detect all of your bills and subscriptions, because there's a lot of people out there who are paying for things that they don't even know. So we ask you to link your bank account so we find those things that you don't know as well. We then organize them for you on a simple calendar so you know what you're paying and when. So I mean, one random stat is that over half the money that leaves your bank account does so on a recurring basis, which means that you don't say yes or no, it just leaves. So it's very important for us to organize that and let you know when these payments are coming and when and how much is coming out. From this, we then do an automatic comparison of your bills versus deals on the market. Currently, we're only switching energy and broadband, but obviously we have views to expand into other industries. And then we allow you to switch your broadband and energy providers with as little as roughly about 3 clicks. A bit more than that, depending on if you were to input some extra information. But the point being is that we try and get rid of all of the tedious form filling that you'd usually have to do on other service providers' websites, your name, address, all these kind of things. We already know that information about you. We've verified that with the bank. We can then pass that on to the supplier. So the switching process for you is very quick. We've seen our fastest switch in about 1.5 minutes.
It's 106 seconds.
106 seconds to switch energy and save money. So like we said, we're trying to help people save time and money. And I guess the other things we bring in, we do, slight analytics and insights based on what we see you're spending. We can tell you we can identify areas you can save on, and things like that. And we're looking to expand these features a lot more moving forward in the next next few months.
Moving forward, right, the next 6 to 12 months is really exciting. I think in terms of time, 106 seconds is our fastest switch. We've saved the customer up to £786 on a single switch, which for us is, what can a customer then do with that £786? And this is where the kind of customer value proposition starts to seep into a value proposition for a financial institution. So for someone like TSB Bank, who we work with, this is about how do we bring the customer back at the right time? Hey, you're on the 11th month of your 12-month energy contract. Why don't you come and check out the other deals that we've already found for you, right? You're not doing that legwork. We've done that for you. So that's an engagement piece, right? And then every time someone switches or signs up to a service, we never charge the consumer. They will never be charged to use ApTap. They say never say never, but I'm saying it. We make an affiliate commission every time, let's say ESA switches to BT, for example. BT would pay us a customer acquisition fee, essentially. And that then we share with the financial institution. So we're a revenue driver there. We're moving into the kind of cancellation space as we move forward. And that is about time saving, cost cutting for both the customer and a partner of ours. And then there are kind of the cross-selling, upselling opportunities that come with saving £786. Can I go and open an ISA? Can I go and open a new savings account, or put that into a mortgage payment or into an interest payment on a loan? Whatever it is, it's about, for TSB, their motto is kind of money confidence, right? It's more like Tesco Bank, it's every little helps. These are themes for us that really underline what we're trying to do as a business. But then the evolution is, we move across industries, we kind of move down our kind of funnel in terms of bill management tools. And that's about disrupting the affiliate model. So how do we improve BT's experience for onboarding a customer or communicating with a customer, putting products in front of customers at the right time, in the right place, with the right products. So it really is a pretty colossal task. I think that goes back to our kind of probably naivety at the beginning of our journey. It's really, really an exciting place to be in.